Through turbulent times, the strong thrive and dangers abound. Lu Wangchuan found that as long as he consumed a certain amount of qi and blood, he could directly improve his martial arts level. Consume 1,000 calories of qi and blood, successfully crack the mountain fist, open the monument, and crack the stone. Consume 10,000 calories of qi and blood, and use one sword to break the river at the full level of infinite swordsmanship. Consume 100,000 calories of HP, instantly annihilate 100,000 enemies with the ultimate Prajnaparamita Dragon Elephant. Time flies like a shuttle, when the qi and blood exceed 1 trillion. Lu Wangchuan's one thought suppresses the sky, and one word destroys the gods. Group 548364182 Keywords of the novel. Changsheng Wudao. I use infinite points of qi and blood without pop-ups, Changsheng Wudao. I use infinite points of qi and blood. Download the complete text. Changsheng Wudao. I use infinite points of qi and blood. Read the latest chapter. Chapter 1. Chaotic Times. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1 Chaotic Times. Dantian, Jianghai City. Mid-street morning market. What a beautiful girl. Why is her fate so miserable? She's so hungry that she's only skin and bones left. Sister, take you to a place called Spring Warm Tower, where you can eat, drink, and earn money in the future. Could you please buy 2 pounds of white noodles and cook a pot of fresh soup for your family? One mantu can enter the house, just married bride. Lu Wangchuan put down the curtains of the carriage, feeling heavy and unable to breathe. In the 3rd year of the Tianyuan era, there was chaos and chaos. This was the first memory he had absorbed in his mind just as he crossed over. He thought it was not a big deal, but after seeing the scene, he realized that it was simply the beginning of hell. Upon glimpsing a spot, one can see the whole leopard. The Jianghai city of Dantian is filled with disaster victims everywhere, and it has become a norm to change children and eat. It is easy to imagine what the whole world has become. Crossing into such a world, without strength, is like a lamb. Lu Wangchuan vigorously rubbed his temples and squeezed out a few shattered memories. Lu Shaoqin, after 3 years of marriage, bought a mansion for her younger brother and gave him thousands of taels of silver as gifts every year. There are countless jewels and jade artifacts. Damn it, the demon who helped my younger brother is me. This sister is really kind. Lu Wangchuan hammered his temple again, hoping to gain more memory, but unfortunately it only squeezed out a few insignificant remnants. It seems that during the time of crossing, the other person's soul was shattered, thus unable to obtain more memories. He looked back at the screen of light in his mind that seemed to be a golden finger. Name: Lu Wangchuan. Cultivation: none. Qi and blood: 99. Technique: Split Mountain Fist, Level 1. Is that all? A simple and plain information panel. Which traveler is paired with such shabby golden fingers? Lu Wangchuan let out a deep sigh and the carriage stopped at the entrance of the Dragon and Tiger Martial Arts School. Law young master, here we are. The coachman Xiaowu shouted, and Lu Wangchuan jumped off the carriage and entered the martial arts school. According to shattered memories, although the original owner was a supported brother demon, he was different from the traditional supported brother demon, very ambitious, obsessed with martial arts, and eager to make a name for himself. Unfortunately, my qualifications are mediocre, and I have been practicing martial arts for 2.5 years. So far, I have not achieved any success in my cultivation. However, this is quite in line with Lu Wangchuan's wishes. In times of chaos, the strong are respected, and strength is the only way to protect oneself. The Dragon and Tiger Martial Arts School is the most famous martial arts school in Jianghai City, with a gathering of famous teachers and a high cost of learning martial arts. It costs 2 taels of silver per month, but as a supported demon brother, this is not a big problem for Lu Wangchuan. He entered the martial arts school and found a corner to sit on the ground. The course he learned today was clearly written on the blackboard, with only the word health preservation. The lecturer is martial artist Lu Xianyuan, who always wears a white long shirt and holds a high position in the martial arts school. It is said that he is an extremely strong expert, but unfortunately he is very aloof, so not many people are familiar with him. People who practice martial arts often suffer from injuries and illnesses, because the martial arts technique is a killing technique aimed at infinitely enhancing a person's potential. Often, it will exceed the human body's tolerance limit. When young, one may not realize it, but over time, the drawbacks become unbearable. As one grows older, the regeneration of qi in blood slows down, making life even more difficult than death. Therefore, martial artists must pay attention to improving qi in blood, and strengthening their physique. Today I will teach you a set of health preservation techniques called 8-section brocade. Pay attention and keep an eye on it. After speaking, Lu Xianyuan began to practice. The 8-section brocade did not have any mysterious movements, appearing ordinary and gentle. If one advantage must be mentioned, it may be more coherent. After a class, there were very few people who were interested, and Lu Xianyuan was not angry either. After teaching, he left with a completely studious attitude. As soon as he left, the warriors began to laugh. Practicing martial arts can indeed cause many injuries and illnesses, but it only takes a few taels of silver and buying some soup and medicine to repair them. If one can cultivate a sect in the future and become a member of the immortal sect, there will be miraculous elixirs to supplement their qi and blood. Who would still practice external physical training skills? It would be a waste of time. That's right, practicing our split mountain fist can not only strengthen our physique, stimulate potential, improve cultivation, but also possess practical combat abilities. However, unlike others, Lu Wangchuan is quite interested in the 8-section brocade. My predecessor, in order to become stronger, practiced very hard and often practiced excessively, causing great harm to the body. Although there is money to buy a strong body decoction, it ultimately cannot achieve complete repair, and over time, there may be some hidden diseases. Anyway, after 2.5 years of learning fist, I only learned the first layer, so I'm not in a hurry to try the 8-section brocade. Thinking of this, he began to practice. Along with him, there were several disciples from less affluent families who did not have the money to buy soup and medicine. They could only practice this free 8-section brocade to repair the hidden wounds left on their bodies over the years. Lu Wangchuan practiced the 8-section brocade according to the content taught by Lu Xianyuan. Over and over again, his body became more mellow, and his qi and blood boiled with the practice, swimming around his body, causing his whole body to sweat profusely. It wasn't until noon that he stopped practicing and didn't feel any fatigue. Instead, he was feeling exhilarating. He seemed to have recovered a lot from the hidden injuries he had accumulated from practicing martial arts, unlike the soreness in his whole body after practicing fist in the past. The only thing that is similar to martial arts is that it also requires effort, and at this moment, the stomach has started to growl. He looked at the light curtain and saw that the qi and blood on it had increased from 99 points to 100 points, indicating that half a day's effort was still worth it. At this point, there is also an 8-section brocade technique added to the panel, but it has not yet reached a level of cultivation. Hey, what is this? Lu Wangchuan suddenly noticed that both fist and 8-section brocade had an additional plus sign. He tried to use his spiritual power to control and click on the plus sign of fist. The next second, his body's qi and blood suddenly churned violently, and a deep sense of soreness, weakness, and fatigue invaded. But when the soreness and fatigue passed, Lu Wangchuan only felt his physique stronger and his fists more powerful. He looked at the light curtain again, only to find that the fist on the light curtain had changed from a first layer to a second layer, and the plus sign behind it had disappeared. Is this just adding some extra points? Lu Wangchuan was overjoyed. It turned out that his golden finger was used in this way, and as long as a certain amount of qi and blood was consumed, it could be directly increased. You should know that a person's energy is limited throughout their life, and very few people will actively improve their qi and blood, and maintain a healthy physique. Most of them will focus on practicing martial arts and internal mental techniques to enhance their cultivation and combat strength. Even so, many people may still be unable to break through higher-level martial arts and mental techniques, such as the original body, due to their understanding for a long time. However, as long as one consumes qi and blood, they can directly improve their skill level by adding points. How much time does this save compared to others? How many times faster is the cultivation speed? Even the cognitive limitations required to break through the level of cultivation can be ignored. These golden fingers are simply divine. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Human and Worldly Wisdom. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. Human and Worldly Wisdom. Suppressing his excitement, Wangchuan immediately went home for dinner. Meat in the diet is also a good thing to supplement qi and blood. Although it is rare, for the current Wangchuan, even if he adds a little bit of qi and blood, he will not let it go. There are 3 people in the Lu family now. In addition to Wangchuan, there are also the coachman Xiaowu and the maid Xiaoye. Both of them are refugees who have fled to Jianghai City and were taken in as servants by their predecessors, responsible for their daily travel and meals. Returning home, the maid Xiaoye had already prepared a delicious lunch, and Wangchuan indulged in it. He quickly swept the table and then quickly entered his own practice room to cultivate the 8-section brocade. Time flies, and the sun and moon shuttle like a shuttle. In the blink of an eye, a month has passed. Wangchuan was practicing the 8-section brocade in the practice room, and his sweaty clothes pressed tightly against his body, displaying several sharp muscle lines. In a moment, he finished his work and rested, his boiling qi and blood gradually returned to a normal state. He opened the light curtain again, and the data had undergone a new change. Name: Wangchuan. Cultivation. Coagulation state. Qi and blood. 103, skills. Split mountain fist, level 2, 8-section brocade, level 2. After a month of hard practice, Wangchuan relied on hundreds of points of qi and blood to elevate both techniques to the 2nd level, while also officially stepping into the coagulation realm. The first level of martial arts practice is called the body secret realm, which aims to refine the body and transform into a mortal body. It is divided into 5 levels. Coagulation, fascia, bone forging, open source, and Dantian. Coagulates quickly after injury, greatly enhancing vitality. It takes an average person several months, or even 2 to 3 years, to break through the coagulation barrier. But now it only took Wangchuan a month, and the speed made him excitedly clench his fist. Thanks to my hard work day and night. Now that the qi and blood have exceeded 100 points, and after 2 cultivation techniques, a plus sign has appeared again. Without hesitation, Wangchuan directly added points. Upgrade the 8-section brocade from the 2nd level to the 3rd level. After breaking through the coagulation state, it will take more energy to improve again, but the 3-layer 8-section brocade will also bring more benefits during cultivation. However, with the breakthrough in cultivation, the increase in qi and blood brought by food is negligible, and Wangchuan needs something better to do. Xiaowu, prepare your car and go to the martial arts school. Okay, young master. The carriage left the gate and headed straight for the martial arts school. Wangchuan began to ponder how to increase more qi and blood. My predecessor also bought body strengthening soup, but it was very expensive, 2 or 3 in 2, 1 serving. Wangchuan didn't have much wealth, so he relied on his sister to support and take care of his younger brother. So it's not very generous either. In addition, the cost of practicing martial arts is very high, so he also needs to be more meticulous in his budget. He also thought about making money himself, such as writing poetry and selling it. After all, not all the ancient poems learned in my past life have been returned to my Chinese teacher. I can barely remember a few of them, and it would definitely be a masterpiece in this world. But in the world of martial arts and chaos, who wants that thing? Lu Wangchuan also thought about smelting glass, making a fortune. But on second thought, once such a huge profit is made, I'm afraid I'll be silenced in minutes. In this world of the jungle, the weak have ways to make money, but they dare not make it at will. The martial arts school also has tasks such as escorting goods, but unfortunately, it costs 2 or 3 taels of silver at a time and often takes 10.5 days to go out. The cost-effectiveness is too low. Lu, young master, here we are. Xiao Wu interrupted Lu Wangchuan's thinking. He jumped off the carriage and walked into the martial arts school. Today is still Lu Xianyuan's lecture, which focuses on health preservation. Everyone was tired of listening, but Lu Wangchuan enjoyed it with great interest. After class, Lu Xianyuan walked straight away as usual, but before leaving, he called out the name of Lu Wangchuan. Lu Wangchuan, come over here for a moment. Lu Wangchuan was somewhat surprised. Lu Xianyuan had always been aloof and indifferent, rarely communicating with others, and it was impossible for him to have any interaction with the end of the martial arts school crane. How could he suddenly let himself go? But he also dare not go against the other party's wishes. In the martial arts school, respecting the mentor is very important. Soon he arrived at Lu Xianyuan's courtyard, where he was sitting on a grand tutor's chair drinking tea. I heard you have been practicing the 8th-section brocade recently. Yes. There aren't many people practicing 8th-section brocade in the martial arts school. After 2 days of practice, the others stopped practicing and ran back to practice split mountain fist. Lu Wangchuan stood out on his own, so Lu Xianyuan knew it wasn't a strange thing. How was your cultivation? Lu Wangchuan's eyes twitched slightly. Lu Xianyuan's strength is very strong, can't you tell his cultivation? Is it because of the light curtain? According to Master Lu's words, the disciples have reached the 3rd level of cultivation. Oh. Lu Xianyuan was somewhat surprised, obviously not expecting Lu Wangchuan's speed to be so fast. Type it once. Lu Wangchuan nodded and directly practiced the 8th-section brocade. After completing the set, Lu Xianyuan gave him 2 more appreciative glances. Not bad. Although Ba Duan Jin is the most basic external body forging skill, it seems that you have put in some hard work to break through to the 3rd layer in a month. The disciples' previous cultivation was too intense, so they left behind many hidden illnesses. They all relied on their mentor to teach them the 8th-section brocade, so naturally they didn't want to miss it. I see, it's similar to what I guessed. Lu Xianyuan pondered and then spoke. I've been running out of money lately, and I heard that your family is wealthy, so I came to see you. But you don't have to worry, I won't let you pay for it in vain. I have a unique and secret formula for strengthening the body, which is worth no less than 300 taels on the market. If you're willing, you can buy it for 100 taels. Lu Wangchuan's eyes lit up, and it turned out to be a prescription for Zhuangshi Tang. This thing is very rare. Major businesses only sell finished soup medicine and never sell prescriptions, which is why a pair of soup medicine is so expensive for 2 or 3 taels of silver. If you buy a prescription and make your own soup, you may only need 2 or 300 yuan to make a pair of soup. Over time, you don't know how much you need to save, and you can only make a profit without losing. If you really want to calculate, the value of a prescription is not too high. As for authenticity, with Lu Xianyuan's identity, it is not enough to deceive oneself. I am willing to purchase. That's good. Lu Xianyuan took out a prescription from his sleeve and placed it on the table. He immediately closed his eyes to rest and stopped speaking. Lu Wangchuan immediately went forward to take the prescription, but he did not give 100 taels, but instead gave 300 taels of silver. Jianghu is not about fighting and killing, it is about human relationships and worldly wisdom. Being able to establish a relationship with experts like Lu Xianyuan may save lives at critical moments. Upon receiving the prescription, Lu Wangchuan immediately went to the Chamber of Commerce to purchase medicinal herbs. He quickly prepared a strong body soup according to the prescription and boiled it for an afternoon. Finally, he obtained a pot of strange-smelling liquid that looked a bit like a cake. Although it was difficult to swallow, in order to improve his cultivation, he could only squeeze his nose and drink a bowl forcefully. However, to his surprise, the medicinal effect was very good. After taking a bowl of it, he only felt a hot and dry sensation in his body, and all his internal organs were warmed up. Lu Wangchuan dared not waste his time and immediately began practicing the 8-section brocade. While practicing the 8-section brocade, he drank the body-strengthening soup. In the blink of an eye, 2 months had passed, and his body became increasingly tall and sturdy. At the age of 14, he was already 1.7 meters tall, with fully formed muscle lines and a strong sense of awe. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. The Heart of a Small Person. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. The heart of a small person. Glancing at the light curtain again, there was a significant change. Name: Lu Wangchuan. Cultivation: Fascia realm. Qi and blood. 179, skills. Split mountain fist, level 5, 8-section brocade, level 6. In 2 months, he successfully broke through the second level of the physical realm. The fascia realm. Fascia people have infinite strength, and a punch can deliver hundreds of pounds of force. An inexplicable sense of security surged in my heart. The stronger his strength, the more secure he is in this world. Add qi and blood to the 8th-section brocade again, making it reach the 7th level. Lu Wangchuan then comes to the martial arts school to attend daily classes. After class, Lu Wangchuan was practicing the 8th-section brocade in the corner, and several martial artists approached with a wicked smile. Forgotten River, did you practice well? Lu Wangchuan stopped practicing and calmly responded. Not bad, what's up, everyone? It's not much, just that the older brothers are looking to buy some body-strengthening soup recently, and the money they have given at home is not enough. They want to borrow some from you. Sorry, I don't have any money either. Lu Wangchuan decisively refused. It is impossible to borrow money, and it is extremely difficult to retrieve the borrowed money. Forget it, that's not interesting to say. We're all classmates, at least give us some face. I really don't have money. Lu Wangchuan refused again, and the bad smile on his face had turned into a sneer. What's going on? You look down on us, right? You're not giving face like this. A smell of gunpowder gradually spread in the air, and the other classmates dared not approach casually, afraid of getting angry. But at this moment, a light drink instantly froze the smiles on several faces. No trouble is allowed inside the martial arts school, don't you know? Master Lu. We didn't cause any trouble, we were just playing with Forgetful River, right? Forgetful River. After finishing speaking, he frowned and threatened Lu Wangchuan with his eyes. Lu Xianyuan glanced at Lu Wangchuan. Is it really like this? Lu Wangchuan is neither humble nor arrogant. They wanted to borrow money from me, but when I said I didn't have money, they wanted to take action on me. A few people trembled and immediately glared fiercely at Lu Wangchuan. If his eyes could kill someone, Lu Wangchuan might have already been riddled with wounds and holes. Lu Xianyuan said coldly. Bastard, do you want to break the rules of the martial arts school? A few people quickly begged for mercy. Teacher Lu, we dare not. Get out of here and play Split Mountain Fist 300 times. Don't leave the martial arts school until you finish it. A few people's faces suddenly turned bitter, but they dared not disobey. Yes. Lu Wangchuan immediately bowed and thanked Lu Xianyuan. Thank you very much, Professor Lu. However, Lu Xianyuan didn't say a word, turned around and left straight away, feeling as proud as ever. Wangchuan is not angry either. As an expert, it's normal to have a bit of a temper. As long as you help yourself, it's good. It seems that the 300 taels of silver from last time didn't cost anything. Taking a glance at the struggling fighters, Wangchuan turned around and left. Those few people hate it so much that their teeth itch. Damn it, for this kid's sake, isn't it just because his sister sold herself that he got along? What's so remarkable? That's right, without his sister, he can't even afford to pay the monthly silver for martial arts. This kid only has him and 2 servants at home. His cultivation is not impressive at all. He has been practicing for 2.5 years and hasn't even broken through the coagulation state. It's better tonight. A few people exchanged a glance at each other, with a hint of grimace in their eyes. When Wangchuan left the martial arts school, he came to the Chamber of Commerce to purchase the ingredients for zhuangti soup again. Mr. Liu is here. In the past 2 months of cooperation, Wangchuan has become a regular customer of the Longtai Chamber of Commerce in Jianghai City. Every time he comes, the shopkeeper Lao Tan, who looks like Lu Neng, personally receives him. Manager Tan, according to the previous materials, give me another 200 taels. No problem, I'll have my buddy bring you the carriage right away. Manager Tan gave an order, and Wangchuan paid the money. Dian. Lu Xiao is joking, isn't he? What is your identity? Can you still miss this little amount of money? I can trust you. He smiled and put the silver note into his arms, then spoke up. Mr. Liu, in 3 months' time, our Jianghai city will hold a large-scale auction at Wangyue Tower. There will be many good things to see. Would you like to go and take a look? The auction. Yes, the auctions are all related to cultivation, including martial arts, mental techniques, and elixirs. Okay, I'll go take a look. Then I'll reserve a seat for you. Wangchuan thanked him and quickly went home to make a strong body soup, continuing his cultivation. 1 day passed, and Wangchuan's qi and blood increased by a full 20 points. It was not until the western window of the moon that Wangchuan stopped practicing and prepared to go to bed to rest. Weijia physical training is just this good thing. Apart from being unable to hold on for a long time, the body is not damaged at all, but is constantly strengthening. If it weren't for the inability to hold on and the need to sleep, Wangchuan felt like he could practice continuously 24 hours a day. And the domineering martial arts like Fist of the Broken Mountain require practicing and resting for a while, otherwise the body cannot withstand the strength of the technique. Perhaps the cultivation improvement brought by 2 hours of practicing Split Mountain Fist can be comparable to 10 hours of practicing 8-section brocade, but 8-section brocade can be practiced continuously as long as you are not tired, while Split Mountain Fist cannot. In a sense, practicing external martial arts such as Fist can improve one's cultivation speed even faster than practicing external martial arts such as Fist. The only and most fatal drawback is the inability to fight, and practicing it for a long time can delay the cultivation of combat techniques, which is why it is despised by martial artists. However, for Wangchuan, it is the best divine skill. However, at this moment, his eyes suddenly stiffened. After breaking through the fascia realm, his facial features and 6 senses were also greatly enhanced, and he could hear some subtle sounds in the yard in a timely manner. At this moment, there were clearly several heavy footsteps in the courtyard. Xiao Wu and Xiao Yu have not practiced martial arts, so it is impossible for them to take such a step forward. Thieves. Or those during the day. However, no matter who he is, breaking into his own house in the middle of the night is definitely not a good thing. Wangchuan quietly emerged from the window, using darkness and familiarity with the courtyard to sneak around behind a few people. Shoo, be careful not to disturb his neighbors. Damn it, living in such a big yard for this kid is really a waste. Isn't it because his sister helped people sleep that we have this big courtyard? I heard that his brother in Law's family is very wealthy. I really don't know how naughty his sister is to captivate his brother. In law and give him so many good things. If you want me to see, why don't you just interrupt him and make him a useless person for the rest of his life? I'll see if this brat dares to be arrogant in the future. Hee, then break his third leg and make him completely childless. No one knows we did it anyway. As soon as the words fell, two forces weighing over a few hundred pounds suddenly came from behind. It was Lu Wangchuan who made the move. The terrifying power of the fascia realm, coupled with the 5-layer fist, mixed with the anger of landing in Forgotten River, is about to send two of them flying. Bang! The two of them flew out a distance of 10 meters together. When they landed, their bodies were folded back 90 degrees, their spine was completely shattered, and their internal organs were hit by a punch. Not good, there's someone. The remaining three suddenly burst into a cold sweat. Just as they were about to counterattack, Lu Wangchuan whipped his leg and directly cut off the neck of the person on the left. With a kick from the foot, the body exploded, and with the help of the impact force, another split mountain punch was used to nail the fourth person's head to the big redwood pillar. The fist was deeply embedded in the opponent's face, accompanied by a crisp click, and the bones of the entire face were instantly shattered, stirring up the brain. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Forging Bones. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4 Forging Bones. The sky was filled with black clouds and the moonlight poured down, illuminating Lu Wangchuan's cold face. When the last person saw Lu Wangchuan, their pupils immediately shrank, and they felt the sweat and hair all over their bodies explode, their heart racing. Isn't it true that Lu Wangchuan has always been a useless person during his martial arts training journey, practicing martial arts for 2.5 years, and has never experienced coagulation? But the strength he has shown at this moment may have surpassed coagulation, right? Is this guy pretending to be a pig and eating a tiger? But at this moment, it was not the right time for him to kneel down and beg for mercy. Please spare your life, Lu Xiao. I came here with them because I lost my head for a while. I still have an 80-year-old mother to take care of, and I promise I won't reveal today's situation. Please spare me. Bang! Before he could finish speaking, Lu Wangchuan punched him in the throat, throwing him several meters away. When he fell to the ground, his throat bone was completely shattered, and he trembled a few times before his eyes burst out and he died unwillingly. He was the one who said he was going to lose his third leg just now. The first time he killed someone was a bit disgusting, but Lu Wangchuan knew that when he came to this world, he couldn't escape this level. The strong kill, the weak are killed. If it weren't for hard work and practice, I would have been disabled for life if I didn't die today. He must become stronger, only in this way can he protect himself well. At this moment, Xiaowu Xiaoye was also awakened and crawled out of the room. Seeing this scene, she couldn't help but cover her mouth. Young master, is this? Don't speak up. Lu Wangchuan coldly said. You two take some cold water and rinse off the blood stains on the ground. Subsequently, he grabbed the bodies of several people, crossed the wall, and took advantage of the darkness to head straight for the moat. After a sleepless night, the next day, Lu Wangchuan went to the martial arts school as usual to learn martial arts. Upon arriving at the martial arts school, he saw a group of people gathered around the entrance, wailing and shouting, and several corpses covered with white cloth on the ground. What's going on? He pretended to be calm and went up to inquire, and a martial arts school disciple spoke up. Our disciples in the martial arts school have been killed. My family is begging the martial arts school to come forward and help find the real culprit. Why not look for the government? Every day in Jianghai City, there are dead people. How can the government manage it? Otherwise, why would they come to beg the martial arts school? Speaking of which, these guys bullied you yesterday and died today. You have to thank the murderer well and help you vent your anger. Due to helplessness, the martial arts school can only help investigate. These people have been causing trouble all day, and there have been many people who have offended them. The martial arts school asked some people, and Lu Wangchuan was naturally among them. However, he had already thought of this move and answered it fluently. The whole martial arts school knows that I, Lu Wangchuan, have been practicing martial arts for 2.5 years and still remain a trash. You even have to ask trash. Do you still have human nature? You not only insulted me, but also these senior brothers. This reason is very sufficient and completely beyond doubt. So, Lu Wangchuan was resolutely removed from the suspect list by the martial arts school. People feel refreshed during happy events, and soup should be added to lunch. However, when Lu Wangchuan returned home, he unexpectedly discovered that today's dishes were mainly vegetarian, and the only meat dish was a spicy stir-fried meat. Why are there so many vegetarian dishes today? Xiaoya lowered her head somewhat awkwardly. Young master, in the past 3 months, our family's expenses have been too high. If we keep buying meat, we will eventually run out of food. Lu Wangchuan was taken aback, almost forgetting about this incident. Since crossing over, he has been constantly improving his qi and blood. With the improvement of his cultivation, his appetite has also been constantly increasing. In this world, meat is not cheap, and body-strengthening soup costs a lot of money, and his family's silver quickly bottoms out. He couldn't help but sigh. Being poor in literature and rich in martial arts, practicing martial arts is indeed too costly. Without the support of gold and silver, I cannot quickly increase my qi and blood. Will my path to strength stop here? At this moment, Xiao Wu suddenly ran in with a letter from home. Young master, Miss has written a letter. Lu Wangchuan's eyes twitched slightly. It was his supporting brother, Mo Lao Jia, who had married into a wealthy family. He took the letter from home and wrote a few not-so-beautiful words on the envelope. My younger brother forgot about the river and personally opened it. Opening the envelope, there was a letter and 3 silver bills lying prominently inside. Lu Wangchuan took out the letter paper, and there was slightly immature handwriting on it, just like the surface of the envelope. Brother, didn't you expect it? Sister has already learned how to write, so she can write to you frequently in the future. Are you okay? Sister misses you so much. I'll tell you a secret quietly, you're going to become an uncle. This letter is written with a lot of words and a few misspellings, and the sentence is also extremely illogical. However, between the lines, it reveals a sister's longing for her younger brother. This sincere emotion made Lu Wangchuan a little sour. He also had an older sister in his past life, and our relationship was also very deep. However, I'm afraid we won't see each other again in the future. Miss, the silver banknotes she sent this year are earlier than usual. Xiao Ye opened her mouth with joy. With a simple mind, she didn't worship money, but with money, the young master didn't have to struggle and could eat meat again. If the young master is happy, she is very happy. Lu Wangchuan collected the family letter, but was not very happy. As a person of 2 generations, he is not as simple as his predecessor. The wealthy wife of a wealthy family is not so easy to enter. His predecessor's sister married in as a commoner woman, and life may not be happy either. It is very likely that she also walked on thin ice. But he has no way to change now, he can only become stronger. After becoming stronger, he can be her strong backing and repay her this family affection. He gave one of the banknotes to Xiao Yu for daily food expenses, and also gave 2 taels of silver coins to ask her to send a reply letter to her sister at the Chamber of Commerce in the afternoon. The remaining silver banknotes are still kept for purchasing medicinal herbs to make strong body soup. Zhuang Ti Tang, a highly nutritious decoction, is difficult to digest at the beginning. Lu Wangchuan may need to beat Ba Duan Jin several times to fully digest it. But as Lu Wangchuan's cultivation became stronger, his level of cultivation improved, and his digestion became faster and faster. Now, he can digest half a bowl of strong body soup with just 1 session of Ba Duan Jin, and his silver consumption is as fast as flowing water. However, Lu Wangchuan will not slow down his pace because of this. After all, gold and silver are only external things, and only cultivation is his own. With cultivation, it is easier to obtain gold and silver, and one cannot put the cart before the horse. So, time passed by in a flash, and in the blink of an eye, several months passed. That evening, Lu Wangchuan was practicing the 8th-section brocade in the practice room. For more than half a year of continuous hard work, Lu Wangchuan and when he first crossed over, they underwent earth-shattering changes. He, who is not yet 15 years old, is almost 1.75 meters tall. His sweaty clothes are tightly attached to his body surface, and his explosive muscle lines are breathtaking. If it weren't for that childish face, no one would doubt that he is an adult. Accompanied by a crackling explosion of his bones, his cultivation also successfully broke through the 3rd level of the physical body's secret realm. Forging bones. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Picking up leaks. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. Picking up leaks. Those who forge bones are as hard as iron, and are difficult to break with knives and spears. Both defensive and combat capabilities have significantly increased. Looking at the entire Jianghai city, those who can reach this level of cultivation can already be considered as middle and upper-class warriors. Ordinary people need at least 10 years to train, while Lu Wangchuan only took a few months. As long as you don't actively provoke others, act steadily, develop for a while, and break through stronger levels, you will have a higher capital to save your life. Lu Wangchuan glanced at the light curtain. Name: Lu Wangchuan. Cultivation: Forge Bone Realm. Qi and Blood. 1649, Skills. Split Mountain Fist, 7 layers, 8-section brocade, 7 layers. Splitting Mountain Fist and 8-section brocade are the most basic martial arts, with each additional point consuming 100 points of life, and the 7th level is already their highest level. After reaching a satisfactory state, there will be no further improvement. It seems we need to find a way to learn some higher-level martial arts. Coincidentally, at this moment, the staff of the Longtai Chamber of Commerce from Old Tan came to deliver a letter, saying that the auction would start today. Time flies so fast. Lu Wangchuan murmured and ordered the small armed vehicle to rush to the Moon Tower. Jianghai City faces the river on one side and the sea on the other. There is a high mountain by the river, and there is a tall building above it. Climbing high and gazing at the moon, it is named Wangyue Tower. After arriving at the Moon Tower, Lu Wangchuan found that the area was already overcrowded, with people rushing up the mountain one after another. It seems that Old Tan is right. This auction is really big. In addition to the warriors of Jianghai City itself, it has also attracted many warriors near Jianghai City. Mr. Lu, this way. Old Tan, who had already been waiting at the foot of the mountain, waved his hand and instructed Xiao Wu to drive the carriage home, then walked towards Old Tan. There are quite a few people coming. That's right, this auction was jointly organized by several chambers of commerce in Jianghai City, and it also cost a lot of money. Many experts were invited from the city to attend, greatly ensuring the safety of the auction. So there were many people coming, and no one could enter without a quota. As they walked, they talked and arrived at the Moon Tower. Suddenly, Lu Wangchuan noticed that Lu Xianyuan was also here, so he bowed to each other. Master Lu. With a light Lu Xianyuan stopped speaking and leaned against the bamboo to look into the distant sea, unsure of what he was thinking. Lu Wangchuan knew that his personality had always been like this, and he didn't say much. After bidding farewell, he directly entered the auction venue inside the Moon Tower. Old Tan smiled and said, Master Lu of the Dragon and Tiger Martial Arts School is not an ordinary person. I heard that among the experts invited this time, his remuneration ranks among the top 3. Lu Wangchuan's eyes twitched slightly. He had long heard that Lu Xianyuan's strength was very strong, but he didn't expect it to be so strong. Fortunately, it is beneficial for oneself to establish some relationship with him. Entering the auction venue, there was also a large gathering of people who came to participate in the auction. Some were dressed in luxurious and gorgeous attire, while others were dressed in rags and rags. However, Wangchuan dared not underestimate him alone. Those who can receive the invitation letter for this auction are not just simple characters. Soon, the auction officially began, and the first item to be auctioned off was an elixir, a simple way to replenish qi and blood. It may not even be picked up by those immortal sects, but it is an exquisite treasure here. Its effect is much better than that of body-strengthening soup. Wangchuan was also envious, but he did not make a bid. There are too many people who want such a good thing, and he can't get in touch with it. Even if he really bought it, it is impossible for him to protect this elixir with his current strength. I'll give 1,000 taels. 1,500 taels. 2,600 taels. The starting price was 1,000 taels, and the price skyrocketed all the way. Finally, the transaction was made at a price of 5,800 taels. The next items to be auctioned off are all good items, and almost every item made Wangchuan couldn't help but take a few more glances. There is a powerful internal mental skill called Speed Heart Technique, a sharp meteorite iron sword, and even a 1,000-year-old blood lingji. There are various types, each of which is precious to Wangchuan, but he has never made a move. He is very clear-headed and knows what doesn't belong to him, at least not now, whether it's in terms of money or strength. After several rounds of competition, the auction began to take a half-time break and served many people refreshments to relax their minds. After all, such a large auction cannot be held in half a day. Wangchuan didn't eat or drink anything. Although meat had very little effect on his qi and blood supply now, he still only ate meat, and other things had no nutrition. He had to eat them and still had to eat. Of course, eating meat also requires pulling, as the absorbable nutrients are always greater than those in other diets. After eating tea snacks, a new round of auctions began again. Ladies and gentlemen, this auction is for an internal mental technique called Dao Tai breathing technique. This technique leans toward strengthening the body, replenishing qi and blood, and is very suitable for healing injuries. The starting price for the auction is 50 taels of silver, and each additional price must not be less than 10 taels. There are very few people interested this time, and the difference between internal mental skills and external mental skills is the same. Like the speed heart technique mentioned earlier, it belongs to the more orthodox internal mental techniques. Practicing it for 2 hours a day may be enough to offset the 10 or even more hours of cultivation gained from practicing the Dao Tai breath technique. Of course, practicing the speed heart technique is also more tiring, consuming mental energy in blood. Practicing for 1 or 2 hours a day may be the limit. The Dao Tai breathing method is relatively gentle, and it is not a problem to practice for more than 10 hours a day, which actually exceeds the cultivation speed of the speed heart technique. But the problem is that ordinary people cannot only practice internal mental skills without practicing combat skills such as swordsmanship, and boxing. After practicing the speed heart technique, they still have extra time to practice martial arts and improve their combat skills. How can one have time to cultivate combat skills while practicing the Dao Tai breathing technique? Isn't it similar to a warrior only knowing how to deal with meat equipment when they can't simply improve their own cultivation by practicing combat skills? Unable to inflict damage, sooner or later it will be worn to death. So for others, this thing is like chicken ribs, but Wangchuan is particularly interested. Supplementing qi and blood, isn't this exactly what he needs as a good thing? The person who offered the price lacked interest, and after a few rounds, it only rose to over 90 taels of silver. Wangchuan raised his hand directly and said, 100 taels. Many people in the crowd cast a mocking smile, and old Tan beside him was also a bit confused. Lu Xiao, spending 100 taels to buy this thing, even if we have money, we shouldn't be such a spendthrift. Wangchuan smiled slightly. It's always an internal mental skill, I bought it to understand. Seeing that he couldn't persuade him, old Tan had no choice but to smile helplessly and shake his head. You'll have to sell this damn thing sooner or later, at least at a loss of 60 or 70 taels. However, Lu Wangchuan smiled but remained silent. This thing is not good for others, and for himself, its value is no less than the previous speed heart technique. The speed heart technique sold over 17,000 taels, while I only spent a small 100 taels. Make a lot of money, okay. I am accelerating my writing, end of this chapter. Chapter 6. Harvest. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6 Harvest. The auction is still ongoing, and the second half is still full of treasures, surpassing the first half. One of the techniques called Tiangang 8 steps left the deepest impression on Lu Wangchuan. That is a unique technique that can increase speed. Although it is not a combat skill, its value is not weak at all. In the end, it was sold for a high price of 20,000 taels, which is even more expensive than the speed heart technique. Lu Wangchuan was eager to see through it, and could only comfort himself in his heart. Currently, his strength is still weak, and when he becomes stronger in the future, he will have some combat skills and body methods, all of which will be available. And just as the auction was in full swing, an accident suddenly occurred. Boom! A shocking explosion echoed from the center of the auction venue, causing everyone present and the warriors at the center of the explosion to be thrown upside down and even killed on the spot. Although Lu Wangchuan was on the edge, he was caught off guard by the waves of air, causing his blood and qi to tremble violently. But he mainly focuses on cultivating qi and blood, and his physique is also increasing day by day through hard training, much higher than his peers. He quickly calmed down and glanced at Lao Tan, who was 10 meters away and had already been knocked unconscious by the explosion shock wave. At this moment, there was also a broken hand holding a small black leather bag next to him. Without even thinking, Lu Wangchuan grabbed it and carried it in his arms, rolling and changing direction. What happened? It's a thunderbolt bullet from the Black Lotus Society, with people from the Black Lotus Society. Black Lotus Club. Lu Wangchuan's pupils shrank. He had heard of this name before. In times of chaos, it is inevitable that some people take advantage of the chaos to establish their own forces and want to make a name for themselves. The Black Lotus Society is one of the top rebellious forces in the world, with numerous experts in the society. Ha ha ha, everyone, don't worry. My brothers from the Black Lotus Society are currently short of silver to eat, so we have to come and beg for some from everyone. After this laugh, there were shouts of killing and fighting broke out, and the whole auction was in chaos. Lu Wangchuan's eyes were cold and he turned around and ran. The auction is not his family's, he is here to consume, there is no need to work hard for others. At this moment, 2 key members of the Black Lotus sect burst in from outside the door and happened to meet Lu Wangchuan. Lu Wangchuan's expression tightened and he was about to take action, but the other 2 avoided him and headed straight to the field. During his confusion, Lu Wangchuan heard the discussion between the 2 of them as they passed by. Don't waste time on him, he just bought a trash health book. Lu Wangchuan couldn't help but laugh and cry. It seemed that the health benefits were just too rubbish in the eyes of ordinary people, and he didn't even bother to grab them. But this is also a good thing, I happened to take advantage of the chaos and escape. At this moment, there was also a chaotic scene outside, and there was not only Lu Wangchuan who escaped, but also fighting against the people of the Black Lotus Society. Lu Wangchuan glanced at Lu Xianyuan and saw him wandering among the crowd, strolling leisurely, as if this chaotic scene had nothing to do with him. And every time he passes by, the warriors of the Black Lotus Society will be directly killed. Watching this scene, Lu Wangchuan's heart beats faster and he yearns endlessly. Killing one person in 10 steps, leaving no trace for 1,000 miles, that's probably what we're talking about, right? With a little envy, Lu Wangchuan immediately left this place. With the invasion of the Black Lotus Society and the escape of everyone, the battle quickly spread towards the foot of the mountain, and fierce battles could be seen everywhere in the forest. Lu Wangchuan quickly jumped down from a high place, sometimes reaching a vertical height of 30 to 40 meters. After forging the bone, the physical fitness has reached an extremely terrifying level. Other bone forging environments are unable to perform continuous high vertical jumps like Lu Wangchuan. The main reason why Lu Wangchuan is able to do so is because he exercises his qi and blood daily, and his physique is stronger than other bone forging environments of the same level. The originally 10-minute journey, Lu Wangchuan only took less than 3 minutes to reach the foot of the mountain. Just as he arrived at the foot of the mountain, Lu Wangchuan met several followers of the Black Lotus Society. These people should be a small team, led by the Bone Forging Realm, with 3 Fascia realms and 4 Coagulation realms remaining. Lu Wangchuan didn't hesitate and acted decisively. Step forward with 2 punches, and on the spot fly one of the Fascia realm and one of the Coagulation realm. A bone forging powerhouse not only has infinite strength, but also an incredibly hard fist. With one punch, it feels like a hammer mixed with hundreds of pounds of force. Don't be reckless. The expert from the bone forging realm rushed towards him with a furious expression. Lu Wangchuan punched him, and his combat skills were obviously much higher. However, Lu Wangchuan's physique was stronger than his peers, and their punches were on par. With one punch, the two of them had a surge of blood and energy in their bodies. Lu Wangchuan followed closely and then punched the opponent's crotch, causing them to break down and resist. Do you want to touch me 3 times? You're also. It turned out that Lu Forget-Chuan was playing tricks and had already stomped hard on his feet, causing his entire face to contort in pain. Without waiting for the other person to react, Lu Wangchuan grabbed his hands and forcefully pressed himself close. Another knee strike shattered the other person's bird's nest, causing tears in his eyes and stiffening his whole body even if he was a strong person in the bone forging realm. With a hook punch, Lu Wangchuan slammed him in the throat, completely sending him back to the west. Before he could be happy, the sound of arrows breaking through the air came from behind. Lu Wangchuan used the body of a bone forging master as a shield, and several sharp crossbows shot into his flesh and blood, making it a specially crafted steel crossbow. Lu Wangchuan didn't dare to be careless. He pushed the body forward and bullied the body forward. His fist opened wide from side to side, crushing the level, like a child punching each other. In a moment, completely annihilate the Black Lotus Society team. Not daring to linger too much, he quickly groped in the arms and cuffs of several people, took their belongings, and ran back to his home in the city in one breath. He lay on the ground, gasping for breath wildly, and after several seconds, his blood and energy gradually subsided. At this moment, he suddenly burst out laughing, and both Xiaowu and Xiaoye in the yard were confused. What's going on, young master? They don't know the feeling of surviving the disaster like Lu Wangchuan, the satisfaction of escaping from the brink of death to a safe zone, which cannot be described in words. After a brief moment of laughter, he instructed the two not to bother and quickly entered the practice room to check their temporary gains. I don't know if I don't check, but when I check, I'm completely shocked. A few followers of the Black Lotus Society don't have much money, and the total amount is only 800 or 900 taels, and most of them come from the team leader of the bone forging realm. That black small leather bag is really the big head. Lu Wangchuan had already guessed vaguely that it should be the legendary storage bag. When Lu Wangchuan opened it, he found that it was indeed the case. What's even more surprising is that there are 3 things lying quietly inside. That prescription worth over 5,000 taels. Tiangang 8-step body method. And a whole 10,000 taels of silver. Seeing these 3 things, Lu Wangchuan's breath was frozen, his heart racing with excitement, and he couldn't speak. I just wanted to bid on something helpful for cultivation, but in the end, I found such a big loophole and made a profit. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Open Source. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7 Open Source. In terms of value, the total value of these things has exceeded tens of thousands of taels. This is a number that Lu Wangchuan has never had before when he crossed over. In a sense, the Heavenly Gang 8 steps can give oneself extremely strong body techniques, greatly improving in various aspects such as combat, escape, and rushing. Danfang can also save oneself countless silver coins, because finished pills are much more expensive than finished body strengthening soup. Lu Wangchuan hid these things one by one. He was innocent and held a grudge against them. If he exposed these treasures in his bone-forging realm, it would only lead to murder. And in order to prevent bandits from coming, Lu Wangchuan also hid separately and did not hide everything in one place. After completing this task, he immediately began practicing the Dao Tai breathing technique. After imprinting it on the light screen through learning, Lu Wangchuan directly added points. This time, the qi and blood in my body are boiling wildly, which is several times more intense than adding a split mountain fist or 8-section brocade before. If it weren't for Lu Wangchuan's practice for more than half a year, his physique would have broken through the bone forging, and he would have been incredibly hard to bear. As the qi and blood gradually calmed down, the Dao Tai breathing method was raised to a level, and Lu Wangchuan found that the qi and blood points were reduced by a full 800 points. How impressive! The Fist of Splitting Mountain and the 8-section brocade only require 100 points of qi and blood to break through, while the Dao Tai breathing technique requires 800 points. However, when Lu Wangchuan tried to practice once and let the gas run through the meridians in his body, he realized that it was really worth it. At the same time, practicing the Dao Tai breathing technique once turned out to be the same as the 8-section brocade of the Yuan man. And this is just one layer of Dao Tai breathing technique. If Dao Tai breathing technique is improved to great perfection, the cultivation and qi and blood benefits it brings in a day are countless times stronger. There were still over 800 points of qi and blood left, and without hesitation, Lu Wangchuan increased his points again, elevating the Dao Tai breathing technique to the second level, and then began to practice seriously. The battle outside the city soon came to an end. Although the Black Lotus Society was arrogant, they dared not remain exposed in front of everyone. If it attracted a large army from the imperial court, they would undoubtedly die. After the incident, the court inevitably carried out a search and arrest. The city declared martial law for 3 months, and even martial arts schools suspended teaching. However, in reality, by the time the martial law was gradually lifted, it had already been 4 or 5 months. During this period, Lu Wangchuan remained honest at home for cultivation, and even when he completely opened up later, he didn't become too active for a moment. So, 6 months later, Lu Wangchuan finally made a breakthrough again. On this day, there was a roar of qi and blood in his body, and his acupoints and orifices opened up. The surrounding spiritual energy of heaven and earth quickly entered his body, indicating that he had broken through the 4th level of the physical body's secret realm. Open Source. Open Source, open the 108 orifices of the physical body, accelerate the absorption of heaven and earth spiritual energy, complete the process of introducing qi into the body more quickly, and promote the evolution of the physical body towards the 5th level Dantian realm. The breakthrough change in this layer is the greatest. After the breakthrough, not only is the cultivation speed faster, but also the body is as light as a swallow. You should know that as your strength grows stronger, your flesh and soul become stronger, and your weight also becomes stronger. This is because your body begins to compress and contain spiritual energy, which is hidden in your meridians. Before Open Source, although the physical body was powerful, it was not flexible enough. After Open Source, the speed has been greatly improved, and practical capabilities have improved by leaps and bounds. Lu Wangchuan opened his eyes, propped his palms on the ground, and with the help of rebound force, his body instantly rushed from one end of the training room to the other, reaching a distance of about 20 meters in the blink of an eye, incredibly fast. What a fast speed! Now I can easily dodge even when encountering precision steel crossbows and arrows. Lu Wangchuan's mouth curved upwards, and every time his strength soared, it was always his happiest thing. Call up the light curtain again, and the changes are significant. Name: Lu Wangchuan. Cultivation: Open Source Realm. Qi and Blood. 1950, Skills. Split Mountain Fist, 7th level, Dao Tai Breathing Technique, 4th level, Tiangang 8 Steps, not practiced. First, learn the 8 steps of Tiangang. Previously, he only added some Dao Tai breathing technique because he has been quietly practicing and developing without leaving his home for the past few months. In such a situation, there is no need to strengthen his body method, only to continuously improve his cultivation in Qi and Blood. Now that you're ready to go out, let's increase your speed and have more strength to save your life. Qi and Blood boiled and rolled, and after a moment, Tiangang 8 steps rose to the first level. The Heavenly Gang 8 steps cost more Qi and Blood than the Dao Tai breathing method, which costs a full 1000 points of Qi and Blood. There are still over 200 points of Qi and Blood left. Lu Wangchuan exerted himself for a moment, and his speed was more than twice as fast as before, even making him unable to react at all. However, what surprised him even more was that the Heavenly Gang 8-step body method was somewhat similar to the forging body technique in Weijia Gong. By continuously using it, he could also slightly increase his cultivation in Qi and Blood. After all, this was also equivalent to accumulating exercise. Although it is very weak and cannot match the specially improved internal mental techniques such as forging body skills and Dao Tai breathing techniques, even a small mosquito is still flesh. Over time, it can accumulate a good balance. After finishing all of this, he quickly left the Lu family and went out to buy some materials needed for the elixir. His cultivation has broken through open source, and his physical body has undergone another transformation. In addition, he has practiced the 4 layers of Dao Tai breathing method and Tiangang 8 steps. The previous body strengthening soup is really not enough for him. Just like eating, if you don't eat well enough, your work will quickly deplete and you will become hungry and unable to continue. Xiaowu was cleaning the courtyard with Xiaoye when suddenly he looked up and frowned, saying, "Xiaoye, did you see a big black mouse run out just now? Where are there any big black mice? Are you dizzy?" Lu Wangchuan came to the street to buy materials. He first took some from Long Tai Trading Company, but he did not take all the materials from Long Tai Trading Company to avoid Old Tan seeing any clues. If he guesses that he was in the Moon Tower and took advantage of the chaos to obtain the elixir, it would be another trouble. In times of chaos, people's hearts are unpredictable, so we should be more cautious. He also did not purchase a Dan stove, which was very conspicuous and easily exposed, and most importantly, it was of great value. Although he has some silver, he is not a wealthy family in the end. Martial arts consume a huge amount of money, and he needs to carefully calculate 1 copper coin to be split into 2 copper coin flours. Lu Wangchuan's choice is to boil the ingredients directly like Zhuangshi Tang, according to the ingredient list on the prescription to make a spiritual liquid, and then drink it directly without refining it into a pill, which can save a lot of time. Others want to refine it into pills because the spiritual liquid is easy to release the nutrients inside, and refining it into pills is better for preservation. In addition, Linya is not as concentrated as Danyao, and its nutritional content is much lower compared to the same period last year. It's like diluting a piece of sugar into sugar water. It's easy to eat a piece of sugar directly, but you have to drink all the water to get the same sugar content. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Teaching. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8 Teaching. When passing by the entrance of the vegetable market, Lu Wangchuan discovered that the government was beheading people from the Black Lotus Society. With a sharp slash, a head rolled off. The people were pointing and pointing around, and every time their heads were chopped off, they would excitedly clap and cheer. Well done. Kill all these traitors. Looking at this scene, Lu Wangchuan didn't know what to say and didn't want to make any comments. These people have nothing to do with him, so it's important to hurry and get busy with your own business. Only by becoming stronger can we prevent this kind of experience from falling on us one day. At this moment, a violent explosion suddenly came from the entrance of the market, and countless little sheep watching were blown away. One of the bloody legs of the sheep fell right in front of Lu Wangchuan. Thunderbolt bullet. It should be a classic looting scene. Lu Wangchuan turned around and left straight away, slipping away. It's important to save his life. After purchasing the materials, Lu Wangchuan quickly went home to brew the spiritual liquid. With the prescription, as long as the proportion was properly mixed, the brewing was quite easy. Quickly, a pot of viscous spiritual liquid was easily completed, looking a bit like sesame paste. Although it was not elegant, it was still much better than a strong body soup like a cake. Lu Wangchuan took a bowl and tasted it. The taste was good, a bit bitter, but after entering the throat, it was very smooth, unlike the strong body soup that pulled the throat. He drank the spiritual liquid from the bowl and instantly felt a fiery energy churning in his stomach. Good thing. The open-source environment has already made the body extremely strong. Drinking zhuangdi tang is like drinking water for an ordinary person, with little effect. However, Lingye has such a strong reaction, which indicates that the nutrients contained in it are much stronger than those in zhuangdi tang. However, it also cost a lot of silver. Lu Wangchuan calculated that if a strong body soup can be brewed for a few hundred yuan, spiritual liquid would cost half or 2 silver, and the price would increase several times. Lu Wangchuan can only console himself that money is external, but the cultivation he has improved is his own. After finishing his drink, he quickly started sitting cross-legged to practice. The 4 layers of Dao Tai breathing method were activated, and the true qi in his body flowed rapidly. It took him 3 full weeks to refine a bowl of spiritual liquid. The speed was much slower than that of the strong body soup, but the profit was more. By the time he had refined the entire pot of spiritual liquid, it had been 10 days and his qi and blood had increased by nearly 300 points, reaching 1279 points. The huge profits made Lu Wangchuan feel very good. At this moment, Xiaoye's voice also came from the yard. "Young master, it's time for dinner." Lu Wangchuan stood up and walked out of the practice room, feeling a chill on his face. The sky was filled with snowflakes, and the ground was covered with a layer of white frost. "It's snowing now. Young master, today is still the winter solstice. Is it winter solstice so fast?" Lu Wangchuan couldn't help but sigh. It has been a year since he crossed over. A year ago, I was still a young boy who had not officially entered the martial arts world, but now I have become a master in the open-source realm. All of this is thanks to the 8-section brocade taught by Professor Lu, as well as the Zhuang Ti Tang prescription later on, which gave me a good start. "What delicious food did you make today?" "Well, I made shrimp dumplings, sesame rice dumpling, peanut rice dumpling, and I fried sugar cakes." Xiao Yu counted one by one with her fingers. Lu Wangchuan spoke up and said, "Prepare some dumplings and rice dumpling for me. I'll go out." "Oh, I'm going to do it now." Xiaoye puts the dumplings and rice dumpling into the food box. Lu Forgetchuan takes the food box and asks for some dishes and 2 bottles of good wine from the best restaurant in Jianghai City. He comes to Lu Xianyuan's residence in the martial arts school. There were few pedestrians on the road, and due to the incident at the Dharma robbery, the newly released Jianghai City was once again under martial law. But all of this has nothing to do with Lu Wangchuan. "Professor Lu, are you there?" Lu Wangchuan arrived at Lu Xianyuan's small courtyard and knocked on the door. A faint sound came from the courtyard. "The door is not closed, come in." He pushed the door open and saw Lu Xianyuan moving the Grand Tutor's chair down the corridor, covered in a thin blanket, and closing his eyes to rest. "What can I do for you?" "If I were to return to my mentor, today is the winter solstice, and my disciple is here to bring some wine and vegetables." Lu Xianyuan slightly opened his eyes and glanced at the food box in his hand, then nodded. Put it on the table. Lu Wangchuan placed the food box on the table, and at this moment, Lu Xianyuan suddenly asked coldly. Where did you break through? Lu Wangchuan thought he was talking about the 8th-section brocade, so he casually responded with a level. If I return to my mentor, I have already broken through the 6th level. With your talent and diligence, the 8th-section brocade should have already broken through the 7th level. I'm asking about cultivation. Being exposed in person, Lu Wangchuan couldn't help feeling a bit embarrassed. However, he finally realized that the other party seemed unable to see through his cultivation. Generally, high-level warriors can see through low-level cultivation, so it seems that the light curtain really has the characteristic of blocking others from seeing through their own cultivation. The disciple's cultivation has just broken through coagulation. Damn it! Your 8th-section Jindu has reached a perfect level of cultivation, and with the assistance of body-strengthening soup, how could it only have a coagulation realm? 9 months ago, you killed Li Yuan and a few others alone, and your cultivation was not below the coagulation state. 6 months ago, if you could escape from the moon tower and ascend to heaven, your cultivation level would not be lower than the fascia realm. Lu Wangchuan was taken aback for a moment, then awkwardly apologized. It seemed that in the future, lying would still require careful calculation. Even if the other party couldn't see through their cultivation, they could definitely guess something from reality. Lu Xianyuan casually threw him a book. Splitting Mountain Fist is just an ordinary level, and it is still good for beginners in martial arts. When encountering experts who can use higher-level techniques, it is not enough to see. In the future, let's practice this extraordinary level of technique. Lu Wangchuan glanced at the title page of the book and saw the 4 characters, Wuji Kendo, prominently written on it. His heart skipped a beat, and it turned out to be an extraordinary level of combat skills. This skill is immeasurable in value, stronger than the speed heart technique and even the Heavenly Gang 8 steps that were auctioned off at the auction. It is an existence that only true martial artists of the immortal sect can touch. I can't buy it in the mortal world. Lu Wangchuan, with a delicate mind, immediately expressed his gratitude. Thank you, Master, for giving me the cultivation method. Don't misunderstand, I never accept apprentices, I just don't want to eat your meal for free, go away. Lu Xianyuan directly issued an order to expel the guest, and Lu Wangchuan was quite regretful that he could not become a master of this master. However, he knew that one should not be too greedy in life. He had already earned a fortune by exchanging a meal for extraordinary swordsmanship. So he cleverly bowed and withdrew from the martial arts school. I'm leaving, disciple. Watching Lu Wangchuan leave, Lu Xianyuan's eyes flickered a few times. This kid has exceptional talent, is diligent in cultivation, and has a smart mind. He knows how to hide his sharpness at a young age, but he doesn't know where to go in the future. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Anti-Thief. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9 Anti-Thief. After leaving the martial arts school, Lu Wangchuan immediately read through the Wuji sword technique, imprinted the technique on the light screen, and then directly chose to add points. The internal qi and blood were burning wildly and boiling, and it took several seconds for it to finally subside. Lu Wangchuan only felt an unprecedented sense of fierce swordsmanship in his mind. This made him couldn't help but feel emotional inside. Adding points was indeed a divine ability. If he had practiced it on his own, he might not have been able to reach the first level of the infinite sword technique for several years. Now, relying on points only takes a few seconds. Looking at the information again, there are still a few pitiful points of qi and blood left. Adding one infinite sword technique actually costs 1200 points of qi and blood. You should know that even a body technique like Tiangang 8 steps, which many people compete for, can be considered the peak of ordinary martial arts. Even a half-step extraordinary can be considered, but adding points once is only 1000 points. Wuji swordsmanship requires 1200 points, which is truly extraordinary swordsmanship. Master Lu has given himself a great gift. Lu Wangchuan has always been a person who has been a little bad to me. I will make you regret it 10 times, and if you are a little good to me, I will also be 10 times good to you. He secretly decided to treat Lu Xianyuan better in the future. Of course, it's better to keep one's own strength hidden. People always have to keep some secrets in order to live long. When he arrived at home, his eyes suddenly turned cold. The 5 senses and 6 senses of open-source experts have become stronger, and any subtle changes in the entire courtyard cannot escape their senses. There were many messy footprints on the ground, although they were covered in snow, they were incredibly clear in his eyes. Moreover, the entire courtyard was quiet, and it was unreasonable for Xiaowu and Xiaoye to sleep at this time. However, he did not show any abnormality, but walked towards the hall with a calm expression. Xiaowu and Xiaoye don't know what to do, they might scare the snake and kill both of them. Just as he walked into the hall, the next second, a long sword with a cold and piercing light was placed on his neck from behind the side door. Don't move. Lu Forgechuan's eyes swept away, and Xiaowu and Xiaoye were bound into zongzi. Next to them were 5 figures, 1 female and 4 men, 2 of whom were still wearing blood-stained prison clothes. It's the Black Lotus Society of the garrison. He immediately said in a deep voice. I have always admired the righteousness of the Black Lotus Society and have no intention of being an enemy. The finance officials in the mansion can take it and please spare the lives of me and the 2 servants. As soon as the words fell, a figure quietly flashed in from the door and said with a surprised voice. Sister-in-law, I can't believe this kid is still a big fish. There is a lot of spiritual liquid in the training room, which is enough to recover Zhao and Chen's injuries. There are also many silver coins. The woman looked at Lu Wangchuan with a cold expression in her eyes. How could a little kid have so much money? His family must be a beast that squeezes the people. Kill me. Just as she finished speaking, Lu Wangchuan suddenly made a move. First, he punched the person behind him in the chest, then another punch hit the back of the person holding the spiritual liquid in front of him, and seized the long sword that the former had placed on his neck. The speed of the open-source environment is as fast as lightning, and the power is even more terrifying. With 2 punches, they can fly back and forth in less than half a second. The former has a completely shattered chest and a ruptured liver, while the latter has a completely shattered spine and collides straight into several people. He's a master. The 5 of them were shocked and pale, let out a scream, and immediately stood up. Lu Wangchuan launched the Heavenly Gang 8 steps, reaching the pinnacle of speed. A silver light flashed through the air, and 4 men were killed by a sword as soon as they stood up. The woman wanted to take Xiaowu Xiaoye hostage, but before her hand touched anyone, the sword blade pierced through her chest from behind. If you want to steal money, you have to make a charge, as if you are acting chivalrous and helping the poor. Sabi. As the sword was pulled out, she widened her eyes and fell down unwillingly. Lu Wangchuan shook his hand and struck another sword, cutting the ropes on Xiaowu and Xiaoye's bodies. The 2 of them immediately got up in panic. Young master, should we report to the government? No need, it's better to do less than to do more. Just throw the body onto the street when it's dark. Lu Wangchuan doesn't want to deal with the government, and these few people have great strength. One of them has reached the bone-forging realm, and the other 2 are in the fascia realm. Isn't handing them over to the government exposing their cultivation? He searched around a few people and only found a small storage bag. Apart from more than 20 thunderbolt bombs, there were only a pitiful 400 taels of silver bills and a jade plaque of poor quality inside. Obviously, it was to save people, so he went to battle lightly without bringing any treasures. Not only shabby, but also poor by. Pooh. At night, Lu Wangchuan took advantage of the darkness and threw the corpses of several people onto the street, then began his crazy cultivation again. Since crossing this world, he has been constantly living this boring life, but he understands that to become a master, one must endure loneliness. There is no shortcut to martial arts. Practice 3 or 9 in winter and 3 or 5 in summer. Only day after day, year after year, can one achieve success. In the following months, the city of Jianghai finally calmed down a lot, and there were no more villains like the Black Lotus Society. Wangchuan thought that this group of rebels had finally calmed down. Unexpectedly, this group of rebels had accumulated strength in the dark and had another big outbreak. In the 5th year of the Tianyuan era, Huang Tianlong, the helmsman of the Black Lotus Society, issued a proclamation in Qingzhou condemning dozens of corruption charges against the court. He immediately shouted slogans. Dantian is dead, Huang Tian should stand up, and he should cede land and claim the title of king. The people supported him and rose up, seizing several cities and territories. At once, there was no difference in popularity. When he heard about this, Wangchuan immediately gave a wake-up call. There is no problem with the art style, after all, this corrupt and chaotic Dantian will inevitably lead to public rebellion. However, the sentence, Dantian is dead, Huang Tian stands tall, makes him feel inexplicably familiar. Almost made him think that there was more than just him as a passerby. Later on, it was heard that Huang Tianlong had exhausted his strength due to the night battle with 10 favored concubines, and the Black Lotus Society had no leader among the dragons. They were temporarily dispersed by the court, and Wangchuan breathed a sigh of relief. Such a foolish person should not be a traveler. Even so, there's nothing to be afraid of with this intelligence. However, this incident also made Wangchuan more vigilant. In the future, he should not easily engage in human enemies, but once he becomes an enemy, he must completely kill the other person and turn the tables on his bones. Otherwise, if you encounter someone who has been in Hedong for 30 years and Heshi for 30 years, even if you cultivate to become a great emperor for a generation, you may not be able to escape misfortune. On this day, Wangchuan came to the martial arts school to attend classes. After class, he was called to the courtyard by Lu Xianyuan. At which level have you reached in the cultivation of Wuji swordsmanship? If I return to my mentor, I have already reached the first level of cultivation. What about cultivation? We have reached the peak of the fascia realm and are about to break through to forging bones. Oh, Lu Xianyuan let out a long oh, and then came a sentence. Under the realm of forging bones, one cannot cultivate extraordinary martial arts skills. The contract has been successfully signed, and you can now vote for monthly tickets, everyone. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Condensing Dantian. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10 Condensing Dantian. Wangchuan felt embarrassed for a moment, then coughed lightly in response. The disciple has indeed broken through the bone-forging realm. Lu Xianyuan rarely showed a smug smile. You are so glib all day long that you don't bother to know your accomplishments. Wangchuan smiled bitterly twice, wondering whether he was an old man who had lived for decades. Although he had lived 2 lives, his past life was only in his 20s, and his experience was still somewhat lacking. However, it's still good for you to be like this. In this world, only those who are cautious enough can live longer and achieve higher success. Lu Xianyuan's tone was somewhat obscure, and Wangchuan speculated that he might have had a somewhat heavy past. But that's not enough. You still need to accelerate your cultivation. Relying solely on the bone-forging realm and a layer of infinite sword technique is not enough for you to deal with the chaos that follows. This inexplicable remark left Wangchuan stunned. Master Lu, what do you mean by this? As expected, Black Lotus will soon make a comeback. Isn't the Black Lotus sect already dispersed? And even the helmsman Huang Tianlong has been killed. That's just a facade. Do you think ordinary people can easily rebel in this world? Black Lotus will only be intervened by other forces, causing chaos for a while. After integration is completed, it will make a stronger comeback. At that time, there may be a bigger storm. Jianghai City is not far from Qingzhou, and sooner or later it will be caught up in it. Upon hearing these words, Wangchuan suddenly realized that he had previously used his previous life's thinking, but forgot to add the most important factors of this world. This is a world of martial arts where the law of the jungle prevails. There are truly unparalleled experts who can handle the level with one person, and 10,000 people cannot escape. In the past life, it was possible to successfully rebel with a group of ordinary people, but in this life, it is impossible. There must be a strong enough warrior leading the team. It seems that there is indeed a greater influence behind the Black Lotus Society. While he was pondering, Lu Xianyuan spoke again. However, even without the Black Lotus Society, you still need to work hard to cultivate. If you want to achieve something in your life, you must go to the immortal sect. In the mortal world, spiritual energy is thin, while the immortal sect mostly resides on the spiritual veins of heaven and earth, with vast spiritual energy. Moreover, there are no good martial arts in the mortal world. Even the infinite sword technique I gave you cannot be considered top-notch, it can only be considered an extraordinary level. It is naturally 10 times stronger than the fist of splitting mountain, but there are many powerful martial arts above it. If you reach a certain level of cultivation in the mortal world, it will be difficult for you to progress. If you don't go to the immortal sect, over time, you will waste such a good talent sooner or later. But the danger in the immortal sect may not be less than in the secular world, and may even be more. Only by enhancing your own strength can you have more opportunities to save your life and more capital to climb up. I see, the disciple has been taught. The two of them had a brief conversation, and Lu Xianyuan also pointed out some precautions for practicing the infinite sword technique. Lu Wangchuan just left. He came to Longtai Trading Company again to purchase materials for continuing to brew spiritual liquid. Manager Tan immediately ordered his staff to pack him. While waiting, Manager Tan smiled and said, "Lu Xiao, I heard you have a good relationship with Master Lu Xianyuan from your Dragon and Tiger Martial Arts School." Lu Wangchuan nodded. "Not bad, what's wrong?" "It's nothing, I just want you to help me ask if he is willing to take over our Longtai Commercial Bank Jianghaking branch. As you know, the world is not peaceful now, and without a master to take over, business cannot be done. As long as he is willing to come, our Longtai Commercial Bank is willing to provide 5,000 taels of silver per month, so many." Lu Wangchuan couldn't help but be surprised. His monthly salary of 5,000 taels of silver was too high. Unexpectedly, Manager Tan smiled again and said, not high at all. To be honest, I have already asked someone to investigate the identity of Master Lu. It turns out that he used to be a peak leader of the Divine Water sect. It was only because he was betrayed by his disciples that he challenged and defeated him at the sect ceremony, snatching his peak head, that he fell into Jianghai City. If you could invite such a person over for 5,000 taels, it would be really worth it. Lu Wangchuan was taken aback. He didn't expect Lu Xianyuan to have such a past. No wonder he felt that way today, and no wonder he had always been aloof and didn't want others to be too intimate. Even a wolf, after being betrayed, will feel cold and go on its own from then on. I'll try my best to help you, but I can't guarantee if it's possible. Thank you so much. So, today's material costs are mine. If you can help me make this happen, I would also like to express my sincere gratitude. Everyone is old friends now, don't be polite. With a few polite words, Lu Wangchuan quickly left with the materials. Of course, it's definitely not possible to get things done. With such a proud person like Lu Xianyuan, it's definitely not possible to hire him once in a while with a large sum of money and let him guard a business every day. Eagles can inhabit any place they want, but they don't choose to enter the birdcage just because of a little meat. In the following months, Lu Wangchuan was constantly practicing hard. Since Lu Xianyuan mentioned joining the immortal sect, Lu Wangchuan was even more motivated. As for the Black Lotus Society, he no longer needs to be overly concerned. With his current strength, he can at least escape even if he can't fight. What he cares about is the immortal sect, becoming stronger. Strong enough to fully control one's own destiny. Finally, with his unremitting efforts, on this day, his body's chi and blood surged wildly, creating a cyclone 3 inches below his navel. He once again broke through and reached the final level of the physical secret realm. The Dantian realm. Dantian, born in cyclones, can store spiritual energy, and will last for a long time during battles. At this moment, the sea of energy in his Dantian was completely formed, and from then on, the spiritual energy absorbed in his body no longer needed to be dormant in the meridians, and could converge into the Dantian to achieve greater reserves. This breakthrough took me a full 11 months. Previously, it took him half a year to break through from forging bones to open source. According to common sense, the time it took to break through from open source to Dantian would only be over a year, much more. And the reason why he was able to improve so quickly is not only because of the higher level Daotai breathing method, but also because the spiritual liquid is always much stronger than the body strengthening soup. Although it is difficult to improve one's cultivation level as one progresses, if the nutrition also increases exponentially, the difficulty will be reduced significantly, and correspondingly, the time will also be reduced significantly. Breaking through open source, I can only be considered as one of the top performers in Jianghai City, far from reaching the top. But breaking through Dantian, my strength should be able to rank in the top 10 of the entire Jianghai City. I can already be considered as the small group at the top of the pyramid. He opened his information screen. Name: Lu Wangchuan. Cultivation: Dantian Realm. Qi and Blood. 2043, Skills. Daotai Breathing Technique, Level 6, Tiangang 8 Steps, Level 1, Wuji Sword Technique, Level 3, Lu Wangchuan consumes Qi and Blood, elevating the Daotai Breathing Technique from the 6th level to the 7th level, and elevating the Infinite Sword Technique from the 3rd level to the 4th level. One is to improve cultivation, and the other is to enhance practical combat strength, but Tiangang 8 steps can only be temporarily put aside due to insufficient Qi and Blood. I still need to find a way to gain more Qi and Blood. Lu Wangchuan breathed a sigh of relief, and the sound of Xiaoye echoed in the courtyard. Young master, Miss has written a letter. A year has passed, and my sister is probably starting to support my younger brother again. Well, she's giving herself red envelopes. Lu Wangchuan walked out, took the envelope and opened it, as he had imagined. This time, my sister gave me 6 silver bills, totaling more than 2,000 taels, which is much more than before. End of this chapter.